Hello, Pacific League fans and fans to be. I'm Gabe Lerman. You know, the voiceover guy from the Top 20 Plays videos. I've scoured the internet for the most passionate English speaking supporters of each of the six PL teams to try and convince you why you should root for their club. This is Making the Pitch. My guest today is Steve Novosel, who goes by the alias Love Marines on Twitter. And love the Marines he does. He's one of the team's biggest boosters in the Anglosphere. Let's check in with him and get his insight on the season that was and the season to come. So, Steve, thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for having me, Gabe.
What did you think of the 2021 season?
I'm a little bit of two minds, actually, because on one hand, we finished second for the second consecutive year, which is completely amazing. But we were so close to actually wrapping it up and having a chance controlling our own destiny down the stretch, and didn't quite get there. So there's still a little bit of burn about that. If we could just have things go a little bit better our way, maybe we actually had a regular season championship. But overall, it's just a fantastic season for the team.
Was there anything that stood out as a highlight or a favorite moment for you?
Favorite moment? Actually, that's quite easy for me. We have one of our not regular players, Hiromi Oka, came over from the Fighters a couple of years ago. It's strange because he seems like he's got the tools to actually be a very successful regular player, but he never quite puts it together, either for the Fighters or with Lotte. But he's got a knack for showing up in late innings, and this year he managed to do it twice. He had a come from behind. I think it was a 2-run home run back in May. We were down by 1 run, and he hit a sayonara home run that the stadium went completely crazy, absolutely crazy, as crazy as you could possibly imagine out there in right field. And it turns out it was actually the first time in, I want to say, 20 years that Lotte has had a come from behind sayonara home run to win a game. And they made goods for it. T-shirts, towels, everything, called it Hiromi Night. And then coming down the stretch in October, he managed to do it again. Team was a little bit on the brink, about having a chance to win the league title, and it was a tie game, I think it was, and he stepped up in the 9th inning and delivered another sayonara home run. And here comes the goods again, Hiromi Night 2, back to back, they called it there. It's just fantastic moments there, that from a guy that's just not really a regular performer. So yeah, definitely my best moments of the year.
As a guy who does the Top 20 Plays videos, I'll always remember his between the legs, right in his groin catch in the right field corner he made. I think that was easily a top 3 pick when it showed up in the highlight reel.
Oh yeah, that was a fantastic play.
Shameless plug for the Top 20 Plays playlist. Of the team's roster right now, do you have a favorite player, or is it too hard to call?
Oh no, it's not hard at all for me to call. I've ever since his first couple games as a rookie, I've been a huge fan of Takashi Yogino. He came onto the scene. He was a #1 draft pick in 2009 out of the industrial leagues. And he his first year in 2010, he I want to say he hit about 320, but stole 25 stolen bases in 40 games before injuring his knee. And unfortunately, he's been injured more often than not in his career. It took him until 2019 to actually have enough games to qualify for any of the league's titles for the first time in his career, 10 years into his career. But when he plays, he's just an amazingly solid player. He hits for average. This year he hit for 10 home runs. The second time in his career he's had double-digit home runs. He played all 143 games, won a Gold Glove, didn't make an error all season. He's just, for me, the perfect combination of the type of player I like to see. Guy who can play defense, hit for average, and it's just a humble guy. He wins the hero interview for a game, and he's doesn't talk about himself much. He just talks about the team, and he's just a very pleasant guy to root for. So, yeah, he's easily my favorite player of all time, honestly.
That's great. For new fans who are coming to the team and coming to the Pacific League, especially from North America, who should we keep an eye on for 2022?
Well, the biggest name I think is probably familiar to most North American fans already, which would be Roki Sasaki. and he's going to be a third-year player this year, and started his first game in, I think, May in Interleague. Later the season there has just turned into an absolute beast, to the point that he was the selection for the starter for the first game of the Climax Series versus the Eagles. And he's obviously super highly hyped coming into the draft. And so far, he looks like the real deal. He was averaging, when they put up the average leaderboards on fastball speeds there, on the daily leaderboards there, he was 10 kilometers an hour higher than everybody else's average fastball, hitting 156, 157 on average, striking out at an amazing rate, batters. So he looks like the real deal to me. But other guys that maybe people aren't as familiar with, we had one guy that I've always loved. He named Atsuki Taniichi. He's been out the last year with Tommy John surgery. And before that, he really broke out in 2020. He was pretty close to actually winning the Pitcher of the Month award for July 2020 before he was injured. He's a guy I think that's going to be a fixture in the rotation for many years to come. He's only 23 years old. He was a low draft pick, 6th round draft pick, but has just developed very, very nicely.
I think our PL English YouTube channel fans are acutely familiar with Roki Sasaki. His video of one of his early starts is the most viewed video on our channel by like more than 1,000 views.
I'm not surprised. He's an electric guy.
So Steve, how did you become a fan of Lotte in the first place?
My origin story. I saw my first Lotte game. This is going to age myself quite well at Osaka Dome, not Kyocera Dome at that time, versus Kintetsu in 2003. And I was just visiting Japan with a friend of mine. We were just going around different places, not specifically baseball. And I said, hey, let's go check out a game here at Osaka Dome. And sat on the infield for a day game versus Kintetsu. And sitting next to a couple of Lotte fans who just decided to strike up a conversation with us. And I didn't know anything about most of the players on the team. I mean, there were a few foreign players I knew at the time. This guy, he taught me all about the cheering, and actually got me tickets to a game the next week at Tokyo Dome versus the Fighters. And we got there about 2 hours ahead of time when they opened the gates. And he introduced me to a couple of the foreign players at that time. And so I was talking with, at that time, Jose Fernandez used to be with Lotte, for about maybe 20 minutes or so before the game, just chatting. And I'm getting really hooked. I'm like, wow, I can actually just sit here and chat with the players before games. And then the actual game's going on, and I'm looking out in the left stand, and these guys, they're a minor team. There's not very many people in the stadium, and these fans are just going crazy. Like, wow, I want to be out there with those guys there. That looks like so much fun. So I moved to Japan in 2007. So I started going to games in 2008, pretty intensively then, and spent a lot of time out in the right field stands at Zozo Marine, which was just Chiba Marine Stadium at that time. Met a lot of people, and it just becomes a family. So I started the blog We Love Marines in 2009. I don't really maintain it now. I haven't updated it in a couple of years, but wrote up most games, I think, from about 2009 to 2017 or so. I'm season ticket holder now at Zozo Marine Stadium. It's my life. It's the old slogan for Chiba Lotte. It's Chiba Lotte Marines. It's my life, and it's really true for me. I divide my life into baseball season and non-baseball season, and even in non-baseball season, we're still having meeting at baseball bars and talking about baseball and thinking about next season. It's really infectious. So
I was gonna say, like, man, you're getting me jazzed about this club. All right, so we've come to the most important question. Why should fans cheer for the Chiba Lotte Marines? Steve, it's time to make your pitch.
Lotte is not the most popular team for sure in the Pacific League, but what you'll find is, my view, I don't know, obviously I'm quite biased, but we're the most passionate fans. One thing that other fans say about Lotte fans is, say for example, one of the big CL teams, if you go to road stadiums, of course, there's lots of fans of those teams, or teams like the Hawks or Cebu. You see fans from those teams in other stadiums there, but they're fans that live locally. But if you go to road games for Lotte, you will see the same fans that you see in Chiba. It's the same people that moving all around. You go to Hokkaido, I sit next to the same people I sit next to in Chiba. It's just that passionate of a fan base there. It's very, very much a family. We may not always be the best team. We haven't won a regular season championship in 47 years, but we're in it together. We're going to cheer the loudest. We feel that if we can cheer the loudest there, we can be the extra player on the bench that can push our team to victory. This team coming up in 2022, I think they're on the verge of becoming quite a dominant team. The player drafting and development has been quite good. There's a lot of good young pitching coming up, guys that haven't had a chance to play yet, but are looking very good, very prospective. Everybody thought this year that Lotte didn't have much of a chance to compete for a title because it was just too soon. Players are just too young. They got the experience now. They're going to have another year next year, more experience. I think they're going to be quite competitive.
So to sum up, if you want to join the most passionate fans, the most bonkers fans in the Pacific League, and do so with a team with a winning run at the moment, you too should go love Marines.
Absolutely.
Steve, thank you for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Gabe.
All right, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff. We've got the remainder of the PL teams coming shortly. Be sure to tune in when the season starts up in earnest. Take care, everyone.